Welcome to the Tackle Shop. My name is Mike Acord. This is,
George Acord.
and once again, we're here to help you with
Anything.
anything. And one of the things we want to talk about today, which we get questioned all the time.
Today,
how many times?
today was a busy day at the store, and I had 5 people ask me, how do you put line on a spinning reel when I'm not bringing my spools in to have you wind them?
It's constant. It's absolutely constant. You know, it's something that we get asked about all the time and what it's all about. So today we want to talk to you about how me and George spool our reels up before we go fishing, and some of the tricks that we do so that we don't have a bunch of tangling and a bunch of problems throughout the day.
We have no tangling and no problems throughout the day, and that's with a wide variety of guide clients with backgrounds from complete novice to seasoned veteran on the boat. So,
and we use monofilament and fluorocarbon and braid, and we do it all the same. Every time we do the same.
Exactly the same.
You know, there's no change. So I think one of the biggest things that we do that helps us the most is before we even start winding our line, when we're spooling, when we're taking off the line from our spools, is we like to only strip off about a quarter.
About a third.
Is that a third?
It's about a third of the spool.
About a third.
Now
of the
that's
spool.
assuming we're going to spool with 6 or 8, which is what most of the time we're doing on a spinning reel.
Well, on these spinning reels, that's what we're going to use a lot of is 8-pound and 10-pound tests.
Or a 8 to 15 braid, which is even a smaller diameter. So
that's about where you want to be
for your typical bass fishing setup.
And the reason for that is that when you're hand winding your reels at home, the longer you put line on your reel, the more you're compounding the twist you get in the process. So by that I mean, if you took a piece of line that's 200 yards long and you reeled on 200 yards on the spool, that's getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse as you go. And at the end of your winding process, there's more twists in the line than if you do it like me and George are. And when we do 8-pound test line, we're looking at probably trying to get about 75 yards of line on there. No more than that. We're trying to get 75 yards on. So over a 75-yard period of time, okay, there's a lot less twisting happening, and it's not compounding to the end of the line, which you're using all the time, and giving it and starting out with those twists. So that's a big key to just starting out and getting your spool prep just to wrap it.
The other reason we do it is obviously a cost savings. So
absolutely, especially when you're dealing with this stuff right here.
Well, this right here, that amount of line on that reel will never see the water. 2/3 of this spool is filler. So I went ahead. This is a new outfit that Mike and I put together for this spring for our. We had to change out a few rods and reels, so I went ahead and put together a 6/8 X Pride with a new Stratic 2500.
2500, beautiful.
Perfect multi-purpose outfit. We're going to spool it with 8-pound test high seas fluorocarbon. For today's exercise, we're going to spool it with Grand Slam fluorocarbon coated copolymer. Because we're big believers in the High Seas brand. We love their fluorocarbon. They're 100%.
Yep.
We love their copolymer. Yep. The fluorocarbon coated, we kind of get the best of both worlds. So, key number 1, the backing. Key number 2, the direction the line comes off the spool. Explain.
Yep. Okay, so you have 2 directions that are happening here. You have the direction which it's
clockwise
going onto the spool, which if you're looking at the reel this way, it's going on the spool clockwise. You see that?
So we're twisting the line this way.
Yep. So over here on the spool here, you want to go the opposite direction. So we want to make sure that it comes off counterclockwise. So if you look at this here, that's clockwise. We need to turn it this way. And we want the line to come off counterclockwise.
So that's going to twist that way.
So what you're doing is you're putting a twist in your line here, and by the time it comes out to your reel, you're taking it out there.
Now,
theoretically,
well, most of it.
You never get all your twist out,
Most of
but
it.
you're starting of getting the most part of it out.
So now, go through the bottom guide on your rod. That's called the stripper guide. Get your tension not close to the spool, but up here between your index finger and your thumb. And get over top of your bulk spool or your filler spool and start winding. Wind her up. Tension-wise, you're looking for, you should be able to take your thumbnail and just barely dig into these wraps. It shouldn't be real soft.
You're feeling some heat in your fingers.
Oh yeah, my fingers are burning a little bit, but it's not like, if you put it on too tight, what you're actually doing is stretching the line.
Yeah.
You want to be firm, but you don't want to stretch it. Now, and you don't want to be able to dig in. You don't want to be able to dig in. I mean, that's firm. It's not like brutal.
It's not like rock hard, but it's pretty firm.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, it's a pretty firm
Now,
on the spool.
The level.
The level.
Check this out.
Man, I'm telling you right now, this is where so many people screw up with loading your reels because you overfill your reels. And that's probably 80% of the people that do this. Overfill their reels.
It depends on the brand. Shimano and Daiwa build their reels to be filled to the bottom of that chamfer, the spool lip. I'm a hair underneath that, and I'm good with that.
Yep. Even a little bit less.
And if that was fluorocarbon, I may even go a tad bit under that.
Get another good picture of that, Will.
That's a Shimano
spool. Get a couple different angles on that.
That's the way Shimano builds their spool to be filled. Daiwa, on the Daiwa, this spool diameter here, the top, is different than this spool diameter here, the bottom. And when you fill it to this spool diameter, you'll be perfect. And remember, on fluorocarbon, and I'm talking good fluorocarbon, I'm talking high-end, high-quality,
100%.
you know, the best fluorocarbon in the business.
This is one of them. This is,
you're buying a fluorocarbon with a low memory. Lower. Yep. This is a spool of 12 I just happened to pick up. I would never put
So the key there is...
You want to go to that bottom of that lip and just a little, like we showed you there.
Yep. And the key is...
And look at that line.
Yep.
Limp. It's not jumping up on itself.
Yep. The key
if this was flipped the wrong way, that would have jumped up on itself. And there you go.
The key is the level in which we filled that reel will eliminate a lot of the little bit of twisting that's built into there. When you cast, it won't allow all that line to shoot off. So remember, do not overfill your line. Do not strip your spools empty. You're only trying to get 75 yards of line on it to crack. And if you guys can use more than 75 yards in one day or 2 days of fishing, you had a bad day. So I guess guys like George, they have bad days all the time. He has to spool at like halfway through the day, a lot. But I
carry bulk spools with me.
Yeah, me no problem. I can go a couple days on 75 yards of line. And here's 200 yards that I can get 3 fills out of for a $22 spool of line.
Yeah, I mean, this is...
cost savings is a big deal also.
That's spinning reels at home. Spinning reels at home. Bait casting reels at home. Pretty simple. Level. The ultimate way to fill them is to bring them to a shop that actually has line winders, that actually knows how to use their line winders.
Got that, Will?
Got it.
That's like the premier way of doing it.
You know, reason being, you're going level to level. This is actually revolving the spool. This is actually revolving the line. There's absolutely no twist introduced. Assuming your operator knows how to run this machine correctly with tension, this is the best. If you're at home, that's pretty good.
That's the way to do it. And I'll tell you what, the new rod and reel combo.
But I want to say one more tip, Mike.
What's that?
Before we say we're out. That loop, that magical loop that gets down in the bottom of your spool when you cast, and you're like, how did that loop get in the bottom of that cast like that? Close your bail, folks, manually. What happens is, when you close that bail with the reel, you may throw that little loop in there, And then how does that loop get down there? You reel your cast in back on top of it. And that's how the bird's nest is formed. Close your bail manually. We do not get loops in bird's nests when we're fishing. Our clients do not get loops in bird's nests when they're fishing with us. Why? Rules are filled correctly, and they close them by hand.
Yeah.
Mike, I believe at that point,
How's that feel?
oh,
That
you should get yourself one just like this.
Well, this is. I heard him say this is our rod. Okay.
You should get yourself one just like
Until
that.
next time, and another tackle tip.
Thanks for
Thanks
stopping
for stopping in
to the tackle
To the
shop.
tackle shop. Yeah, absolutely.